everybody. Welcome to the Arnemancy 2026 Look Ahead Forecast, live with T. Susan Chang and Andrew B. Watt and me, Reverend Eric L. I feel like I need to have like an initial in there somewhere in order to like really
What's your
fit
name?
in. Those of you who have been following us for a while know that, like, for a number of years, we had this great sort of tradition of doing these live or doing these forecasts. They started to get bigger and bigger and bigger. We started to do like look backs and look aheads and all this kind of stuff. And then last year, everything fell apart. We hit or perhaps surpassed my organizational limits, and we only forecasted half the year. Which is why the second half of 2025 doesn't even count. So if
It doesn't even exist.
it doesn't even exist.
Are you kidding?
Like, we might not even be here right now.
Guys.
Yeah. So I'll let everybody introduce themselves. Andrew, would you like to introduce yourself?
Sure. My name is Andrew B. Watt. I've been writing an astrology column since 2019. I actually started doing professional readings in 2017, so I'm coming up on my 10-year anniversary. And we've done this show for, I don't know how many years now, 4 or 5 years.
106.
I started out as a middle school teacher. That was my day job, and so I tend to approach this with a little bit of a historical background.
All right, Susie, what's your story?
Well, let's see. I write and teach and read tarot all the time. The big thing this year is my new endeavor, which is the Tarot podcast, available on all podcast servers and YouTube.
Yay!
And thank you.
I
And
probably have an applause
and
sound
yeah,
effect.
so Andrew is a former teacher, so he does historical context and he gives us the solid lowdown on everything. And I am an agent of chaos, so I just time whether we can actually do mundane tarot, who knows? But we're gonna try.
And I am your host, Reverend Eric. I run the Arnemancy podcast, and I am here to help keep Andrew and Susie in line. I am the glue between their yin and their yang. I am the strawberry jam between their peanut butter and white bread. Or something. Maybe I'm the
It's a
peanut
dirty
butter.
job, but somebody's
Whatever
got to
I'm
do
doing.
it.
I'm the sauce in the pizza. And also helping us today, we have Jake Zukowski behind the scenes. He is one of the two geniuses behind Cosmic Plumbing. They are endeavoring to create the greatest astrology software that the solar system has ever seen. And they have done a beta release. It's absolutely worth checking out if you enjoy astrology, if you enjoy prognosticating, or even if you just enjoy looking at some beautiful, well-designed software. Go to cosmic.plumbing. There's the address right there.
And it's brilliant. I
highly-
really am looking forward to playing around with it more than I already have.
Yeah, I've been enjoying it too. And also, I would also like to say that I have a glass of fine eggnog from Darigold Dairy in Portland, Oregon, and I would also encourage everybody to drink eggnog this season.
What about Nog Nog?
Nog. I
Who's
feel
there?
like... All right, so here's how this is going to work. We only have 2 hours to get through the entire year, which is a feat that we have never before accomplished. So
All right.
Jake is gonna remind me when the time is up to go to the next month. I also have this great sound effect that I will use to toll the bell of doom for whatever month we're currently talking about, and we're just gonna zoom through and try to cover the whole thing. And for those
And
of you,
I will draw my card early, like while you're talking, so I am good to go.
okay, so we'll have Andrew go first then, because he already told me that he did all of his homework for 2025.
Okay, yeah.
Yeah, and those of you who have joined us live, you can put questions in the chat and ask us things. Our producer Jake will make sure to nudge us and make sure that we answer your questions or ignore them if that's what we feel like. And so let's get started. Andrew, can you briefly tell us about your methodology for your year ahead forecast?
Sure. The methodology that we settled on quite a while ago was to do sort of a modified solar return. We use the start of the vulgar year, that is to say midnight, at the astrologer's location, which in our case is very helpful because it's more or less also Susie's location. So we use midnight local time, and we take the degree and minute and advance that by 1 month each for each of the 12 months. So in this particular year, for example, midnight on December 31st, January 1st falls at 10 degrees Capricorn, 46 minutes, and that puts the ascendant at 10 degrees of Libra and 19 minutes. So then for February, we advance the chart to 10 degrees of Aquarius at 46 minutes, and it usually works out to be about the first of the month, or in some cases the second or third, but it's always going to be at 10 degrees 46 minutes of whatever that next month is. And then we look also at whatever planet is the ascendant ruler to get a sense of what kinds of things we might be looking at in that month.
All right.
And Alan is quite right. Saturn and Neptune in Aries, I'll talk briefly about that when we get to that month.
All right, cool. All right. And then, Susie, how about your methodology?
Well, basically, I just draw a card and I do my freaking best to read it. So the one thing that we do have to be aware of with mundane tarot is that, every single card can have a very positive side and a very negative side. And I will always emphasize the negative, or at least I will tell you what the negative is, because experience has shown that, there's all kinds of news, but disasters are consistent.
Yeah, and I feel like one of the things we've learned about in the past is first that anytime Susie predicts a volcano erupting, that's because there's always a volcano erupting. It turns out that there are a lot of them, and when there's always one going off somewhere. And second, every time we draw the Empress, it's going to be about Taylor Swift. So
I also have a PDF which I will hand off to both Susie and Eric afterwards, and you'll be able to download it and follow along with the episode. So you won't see the charts that I'm talking about, but you will be able to look at them afterwards.
yes, so
Yes.
I will make sure that the PDF is linked in the show notes of wherever you are watching and or listening to this. And anybody who signed up live, I'll make sure that you get a PDF in your email. All right, so let's get started. January 2026. What does the year look like for us, Andrew? Just in general, is January going to be terrible?
I don't know that January is going to be terrible, but do you want to say a few words about the year as a whole based on that midnight chart, or do you want to rush ahead into
Let's just
January?
do January.
Let's
Okay.
Let's do what Susie says. The Agent of Chaos will win this time.
All right.
No spoilers
tried-
for the spoilers.
I tried to look at 4 sections of the chart for each month, and what I drew out of the January chart is that this is a great month for you to be building up your inner circle of friends. Find more friends and go deeper with them. Home life, family life is likely to face a little bit of hardship, but also beauty, because you've got both Mars and Venus in that sign for the first 30 days of the year. If you have kids, or if you have hobbies that you spend a lot of time on, be gentle with yourself. Think about immediate next actions. You don't necessarily want to plan out your entire year in the first 30 days of the year. That is a recipe for disaster this year. Focus on what the next thing is that needs doing, rather than trying to build out the whole plan for the next 365 days. In career, be really big-hearted and kind to your team, but also sort of maintain a little bit of distance from your boss. Focus on the team.
All right. Okay. That's good advice. I'm going to be playing in a Blood Bowl tournament in January and hopefully launching some new software company stuff in January. So those are both
good
pieces of advice that I will hold dear to my heart. All right, Susie, give us the bad news.
It's the Ace of Pentacles.
Oh, that's good news.
Hey!
It's actually, there is some interesting news that's associated with the Ace of Pentacles. We have gotten it 3 times before. Mm-hmm. And each time, in last year in 2024 in February, when we got this card, the Nikkei index broke its record.
Nice.
Another thing that happened at the end of the year was that, let's see, I think there was a Bitcoin thing that happened, like a Bitcoin. I feel like there was like a Bitcoin high at some point during 2024 associated with this. Yes, in December of 2024, as well as the reopening of Notre Dame. So, so I think that this can definitely be, money stuff, kind of an abundance of money, which all of us would be thrilled about. It could, on the other hand, mean inflation. So,
right.
But there's that. Another thing that's happened with this card in the past is wildfires, but literally Canadian wildfires. But now we have wildfires every month of the year. So I think that's a solid prediction for literally any one of these 78 cards.
Wildfires are the new volcanoes.
Exactly. Wildfires are the new volcanoes.
All right.
So yeah, Ace of Pentacles, good in theory. In tarot, it's good to start new projects when you have an Ace of Pentacles. Start something exciting, put down roots, and
I feel like it's a strong start to the year. I basically think that it means that, like, if you are a capitalist, you should be buying now so that you take advantage of the peaks in January. And if you are a Catholic, January would be an excellent time to purchase indulgences. Okay, any other thoughts about January, or should we move on to February?
One of the things I like about the Ace of Pentacles is that there's that sense in the card that you're inside of a garden.
Yes.
And I think that one of the things that I take away from the chart is that the January chart is very reactive, right? It has a lot of things going on in it that suggest that both on the public level and in the private sphere, we're going to be more reacting to events than going out and initiating new actions. And the way that I would read that is stick close to your own garden, right? Stick within the hedge. This is not a great time for going over the garden wall.
I like that. I like that.
All right, that is good advice. All right, now February, which is a good month for people who enjoy short weeks. And also this February, I believe I mean, the weeks are the same size, but we have a Friday the 13th in February this year, don't we? I think that's good.
Excellent.
I don't know.
I don't
I trust you, though.
I'm just guessing. Let's February, yes, Friday the 13th in February, which means also Friday the 13th in March.
That means
all right.
Saturday the 14th, which means it's a great date night for Valentine's Day.
Valentine's Day. Oh, man. If you are a restaurateur, get ready. All right, Andrew, give us the February space news.
Well,
Space news.
On the romantic level, or engaging with your spouse or significant other, or seeking out a new romance, there's definitely a bunch of stuff here that suggests engaging in contests of some kind, playful contests with your partner, or also going and having mixed drinks or having spa days that involve a lot of aromatherapy. On the other hand, there is an enormous pileup of Mercury, Venus, the Sun, Mars, and Pluto all in Aquarius. And all of that is in the 10th house of career in this chart, which is for January 30th, 2026 at 10:53 a.m. The idea here is that there's going to be a lot of difficulty maintaining a work-life balance, and work is much more likely to play into everybody's life in February than the romance or the hobbies or the private entertainments. The other big thing that's going to be happening just at the end of January, beginning of February, is that Neptune is going to move into Aries. And the thing that we have to be aware of is that there's going to be our Neptune and Saturn conjunction during this month. I'm going to let Susie draw a card, and then maybe we'll speak a little bit about that Neptune and Aries problem.
I mean, Neptune and Aries sounds steamy to me.
Yes. Well, speaking of the pile up in Aquarius, look what we got. Speaking of agents of chaos, we've got the Seven of Swords, which is the, associated with the final decan of Aquarius is why I mention it. And in previous years, I think we've gotten it just once, and the weather disaster associated with swords is tornadoes. So, which is very much a swordsy and I think appropriate for Seven of Swords as well, because there's kind of that like going in two directions thing, and there's kind of a vortex of chaos going around the Seven of Swords. Another thing that happened last time that we got it was that there was a hearing on Instagram and mental health. So when Andrew talks about, the work-life balance thing, I think that's going to be really critical to pay attention to in terms of maintaining your mental equilibrium during February of this coming year. Yeah. This is known as the card of the divided mind. That's what I call it. And just, take care not to lobotomize yourself or get schizophrenic because of the amount of chaos going on around the sky.
I was already planning to have a schizophrenic February, so I guess we'll see. We'll see.
And that's
Self-care, guys.
A really good place to talk about the Neptune-Saturn conjunction, right? Neptune and Saturn conjunct one another every 36 years. So the last time this happened was in 1989, which, as you may recall, was involved with the collapse of the Berlin Wall and eventually the collapse of the Soviet Union.
Some of us might recall that.
The previous...
Oh, man, Andrew. It's you and me in the old folks' home here.
The previous time was the institution of the communist regime in China in the early 1950s. And the time before that was 1917. Now, none of us were around for 55 or 53 to 55 or 1917, but we should know from our history that 1917 is the Russian Revolution and the collapse of Tsarist Russia. So that's the first thing, is that Saturn and Neptune conjuncting are in part about significant transformations of dynastic power. The second thing is that this is the first time that they have conjuncted with one another at 0 degrees of Aries. That is to say, the very beginning of the astrological chart. Since 1742 BC.
Whoa.
So this is very likely to be a profound moment, but it might not be the sort of thing that is immediately obvious, right? It's going to, there might be something as dramatic as a dynastic collapse somewhere in the world, but it's not.
The Connecticut River Valley is having some
dead air.
Oh no, he's having a regime collapse.
Oh no.
Oh, there we go. Yeah.
Oh, you're back. You're back.
I have concerns about this, but I don't know exactly what it means. One of the things that we can take away from a Saturn-Neptune conjunction is that Saturn bypasses Neptune, and so it is about reality intruding on fantasies. It is fantasies running smack dab into what is realistically possible, and Saturn taking the lead and saying, no, you really have to adjust your thinking about this and conform to reality. In the American chart, this is happening in the 11th house, which is associated with Congress and with state legislatures.
Oh, God.
So I think we're already starting to see some elements of this happening right away, is that state legislatures and Congress are beginning to push back against Fantasyland. And and Alex says, what happened in 742 BC? It's not 742 BC. It's 1742 BC.
Was that like the Sea Peoples, or did some
it's
pharaoh?
The Hyksos. It is the Hyksos period during ancient Egypt when the Hyksos invaded and took over the Delta, and Egyptian culture collapsed at the end of the Old Kingdom period.
Dang! So we really have to watch out for those Hyksos.
We really do.
Are they like in Canada?
It's a good question. I don't think they're in Hannah.
Okay. All right. Well, so that sounds like a pretty significant conjunction or transit, so we should all kind of be watching out for that one. I mean, it sounds exciting, and sometimes excitement is good, sometimes it's not very good.
Exactly.
15 seconds. Okay. All right. We're getting into March. We have to move into March. I'm just going to gong myself.
Ask not for whom the bell tolls.
It tolls for March. Okay, Andrew. Let's. You finished up February, and now you're launching into March. You left us on a cliffhanger there. So
well, the Big note that I have about March is to be aware that that conjunction, which takes place on February 20th, now is shifting to the fourth house, which means identify what fantasies or dearly held beliefs that you have around house, home, and family are no longer serving you, and face reality. That's one of the big messages of March, is that whatever ideas you have around house, home, or family that are not serving you are going to be challenged, and you have to adopt a more realistic attitude about the world. This may come in the form of some challenges to your financial discipline that need to be adjusted, and that you need to rein in excess spending. You may need to be paying off debts. On a career front, it looks like the big piece of advice that I have to give is document everything. Mercury is in a great position here for saying how important it is for you to be documenting everything that's going on with you and what your bosses and superiors are asking you to do, and keep track of that information and hold it close. Keep it secret, keep it safe. You want to have the right and necessary information to protect yourself in the event that crazy shit goes down. There's also a piece of advice here that I would say: take the lead on jobs that nobody seems to want.
The midnight dirt men, basically.
The night soil men, yes.
The night soil men, yes. Saturn work, as Jake says.
Yes, for sure.
All right, Susie, give us a card, and don't let it be pentacles, because we don't want to think about it anymore.
No, it won't be pentacles, but speaking of crazy shit going down.
Oh, no.
It's the Nine of Swords. Well, Andrew was talking about getting your mercurial affairs in order. This is second decan of Gemini we're talking about.
Uh-huh.
What I call the trash talk decan. So, in previous years when we've got this, it has not been great for public discourse, I have to say. There were those anti-transgender bathroom bills, if you remember that, in 2023. That was when the members of the Tennessee legislature got expelled and then came back to office. There was book bans. There were, abortion rulings. There was all kinds of, and Elon Musk also in October 2022, we got this card and he acquired Twitter. Again, had an effect on public discourse. The thing about this card is that people will be feeling very talky and very quick to express their opinions. So just knowing that, forewarned is forearmed. Maybe think twice before you jump in and say what's on your mind. So
that's, I think, always good advice. I guess March is going to be the month when we should pay extra attention to it.
Yes, indeed.
Yeah.
I will note that
Venus...
Venus...
we've got a February... Oh, sorry, Andrew, what was that? You got a Venus thing?
We do have Venus for most of February into the early part of March in Pisces. So there should be some really good elections in there
that's good
to work with. And I would not only look at Fridays, because that's her day, but also Monday nights. I've gotten some very good results with Monday night talismans and elections involving Venus.
Do you mean Monday night Venus hour or something?
Yeah, Monday night Venus hours, but also... right at dusk, that sort of thing.
All right. Will alien disclosure happen, do you think? Either in February or,
Well, the Seven of Swords, you never know. That guy's a trickster. Could happen.
That's true. Andrew, anything alien-related in the sky? I mean, I guess that's where it's going to be.
There are some things in the sky that are supposedly of beyond the solar system origin currently passing through our solar system. Oumuamua was the first such object. There's one which I think is called Thigh Atlas. I'm very much of two minds about this. Like, on the one hand, it would be really exciting to have news about aliens, and on the other hand, any news about aliens is coming from very likely the U.S. government, which at the moment is a deeply suspect source of information. I'm not sure that I would be prepared to believe that without compelling evidence. The Carl Sagan standard, which I was just reminded of a few days ago, is that extraordinary claims require extraordinary evidence, and they insist on applying this to astrology. I'm going to say that we should apply the same standard towards aliens. We should expect that if that evidence comes forward, that we need to see really compelling proof.
Right, like I want to run into an alien who can like play backgammon. And once I can play backgammon with an alien, then I'm going to be like, okay, aliens are real. All right, let's move on to. Wait, did we just do? Yes, April. April. Andrew, would you like to recite that line from the Canterbury Tales about April in Middle
when
English?
that April with his shoulders sucked or rocked of marsh that person to the root and bathed every vein in swish liqueur. It could go on for a while. I'm not going to waste our time.
All right, on to
doing
May.
that.
No, let's do April. Yeah. Okay.
But
all right, Andrew, give us the sky news for April.
So the big thing that happens in April, of course, is that we have the sun moving into Aries at the end of March 21st. And that means that almost the first thing that happens after we have the spring equinox is that the sun has to pass over first Neptune, right?
And then
big vision, big exciting visionary possibilities followed immediately by hard realities.
Like Saturn?
Then Saturn is going to be the next thing that the sun comes to. And so there's going to be a lot of that on a lot of different levels. On the international level, we're going to see that. And then again on the national level, on the state level, and on local level, and in your personal life. Don't trust that big vision that comes at the end of March, beginning at April, because you need a chance to test that against reality.
All right.
And please don't release the new cosmic software during the first 2 weeks of April.
Yeah,
The
take note, Jake.
second piece of this is that Mars will have arrived in Pisces at this point. So Mars is going to be passing through Aries in April. And Mars is not simply going to face those hard realities. It's going to be beating those hard realities into us on a deep level. And if we didn't get the message the first time, this time we're likely to get knocked around quite a bit. So don't trust the first blush of enthusiasm.
All right. Okay.
On the other hand,
watch out for the beginning of April.
Venus will be in Taurus. So there is some elegance and creativity and beauty during that month as well.
All right. So that's the time for Jake to be reworking the user experience for Cosmic, but not necessarily releasing a new version of it. Got it. All right.
Yeah.
I hope he's taking notes. All right, Susie, give us a card.
Well, I wish I could offer you kind of a mitigating factor, but what we have here is the Nine of Wands. So,
I wonder, do you stack the deck? Do you just put like all the cards where people are getting like beat up and stabbed like right at the top? Is that
I promise you, this is not the 2020 Rider-Waite-Smith, which was 78 tower cards.
Yeah.
So the Nine of Wands, when we have gotten it in the past, there has been a lot of kicking people who are down, I'm sorry to say. There's been migrants. Remember that situation where the migrants were found dead in the tractor trailer? Mm-hmm. That was in June of 2022. There was an earthquake in Afghanistan and Pakistan. There was, Roe was overturned. So, there's a lot of you can see that this person has been fighting battles for quite a long time. And this requires kind of extra stoicism and resilience during this period because, if you're someone who has been oppressed or kicked around a lot or, exposed to adversity, you're going to be in the news. So hopefully it will be because people are, protesting or making a noise or doing something to draw attention to their plight. But I can't say it's going to be easy.
I always associate the Nine of Wands with times when ideology interacts with reality and you have to suddenly deal with how that looks, dealing with, the real world, I tend to be pretty ideological in my outlook on things, and every once in a while I'm forced to kind of face the fact that ideology alone does not bring bread to the table, nor protect me from the slings and arrows of even mild fortune.
Yes, indeed. And, and the thing about this is that this card has a lot of experience, and it's smart to use that experience to not be naive, to anticipate what might go wrong and perhaps take measures to forestall it.
Yeah. All right. That's good advice. I have to say we're like a third of the way through the year at this point, and looking back at our previous forecasts, I enjoy how much you guys hedge your bets now.
Oh, yeah. We're very cautious now.
And I know that Susie is consulting the grand spreadsheet. We have a grand spreadsheet with all of
We
the...
do.
I mean,
It's a
you
pretty
guys all know
grand
Susie has
spreadsheet. I
the
tried
spreadsheet
not to
thing.
look at it too much this time.
Yeah. I haven't opened it at all. I haven't looked at it since last January. So I don't know what even happened in the past.
Oh, well.
Who even knows
you
about
don't
the
have
future?
to.
Yeah, that's true. I'm just
yeah.
here.
I mean, I'm like 90% spreadsheet, so
Yeah.
I'll do that part for you.
I'm just here to provide a pretty face.
I don't think that's true.
Okay. Well, I feel like that was a good April. Shall we move on to May, the month named after the mother of Hermes?
Yes.
All right, let's do it. Andrew, give us the news.
So one of the things that's going on is that we have the South Node representing less of something, but also where the shit has a tendency to come out. In the chart of May,
Nicely put.
the
Caput
South
Draconis.
Node is in the career house. So, and at the moment, the South Node is in Virgo, which means that analysis is the thing that makes the shit come out.
Oh, that
Right.
makes sense. I feel like you can't really spell analysis without having a place for the shit to come out.
It's very much true,
guys,
right? But it does mean that when it comes to career matter, that we are likely to be hit by the problems of deep analysis leading to analysis paralysis, or to having too much information to make good decisions, and as a result failing to make decisions. So one of the things that it's important to remember for May is don't get trapped in analysis paralysis. Even if the shit does hit the fan, you have to be making decisions. Now, the side effect of this is that the North Node is going to be in the fourth house, which is home and family. And it's saying, work to rule. If you are in a large corporate environment, check out what your handbook says and do everything that you can to spend as much time at home and avoid going into the office early, avoid staying late at the office. Do everything that you can to pull yourself back towards the places where you have the greatest levels of comfort and ease. The other side of this is that very, very late in April, we've got Uranus moving into Gemini for the second time and the last time. So for the next 7 to 8 years.
What do you mean the last time?
For the next 7
Ever.
to 8 years.
Oh, okay. Whew. I'm like, hold on a second. What?
For the next 7 to 8
What
years.
does Andrew know that we don't?
Will be in Gemini. And as we've noted in previous shows, whenever Uranus is in Gemini for that 7 to 8 year period, the first 4 years of that has a tendency to be very tumultuous for the United States. And the second 4 years is a period of unusual prosperity and freedom, right? The first time that happened was around George Washington's armies were maneuvering to defeat Gentleman Johnny Burgoyne at the Battle of Saratoga in
Right,
upstate
as you may
New York.
recall.
The second time was the day that Fort Sumter surrendered at the start of the Civil War. The third time was in December and January of 1941 when the U.S. entered World War II. So we're in for a little bit of a rough ride over the next few years, I think. But in the whole, I think that this is going to be good. But it's about managing those first 4 years or 3.5 years at this point. I would say that we're already partly into the chaos.
Mm-hmm.
In this particular chart, Uranus is going to be in Gemini in the 7th house, which is about partnership, about spouses, about romance. And it's saying plans are going to be chaotic, they're going to be difficult to maintain, and there's likely to be a fair bit of disorder. Be prepared to shift and do things spontaneously rather than getting too hung up on, but we've been planning this for months, right? It's good to be able to be flexible and to move to other kinds of plans. I have a final note here that says that if you have kids, that there's a pile up of planets in the 5th house around kids, and it's Neptune, Saturn, Mars, and Mercury. It's saying after your descendants, and do you know where your children are?
Shit, I've been asking that question for years. And I would like to say Analysis Paralysis was my favorite Schoolhouse Rock episode.
And as Krista says, Uranus is here to liberate us from stalemate. That's one of the Uranian functions, is to invent or revolutionize the way that things are currently being done, and it's now.
Mm-hmm. All right, Susie, do you have an easy, nice card for us? Maybe like a 6 of cups, perhaps? Maybe like, I don't know, maybe a 2 of cups. That would be awesome.
Well, since you asked,
I take
dun,
a 3.
dun, dun. Der Teufel, the devil. Yeah, so we went Ace of Pentacles, 7 of Swords, 9 of Swords, 9 of Wands, the devil. Things are sort of like, yeah. So the last time we got this, it was not pretty, but it's never pretty. There were, in line with the sort of money aspects of the devil, we had problems with the FAFSA. Remember that, with the whole college admission system basically exploding. Mm-hmm. That was the first time the Epstein disclosures were in the news again. I mean, like the first time that they really took over. And there was also the Boeing 737s were grounded because of door plug problems. So do these all have something in common? You tell me.
Things falling to Earth?
Well, yes, kind of. I mean, I do think, the grounding, the holding on to stuff, the sex addiction, that's definitely a devil thing. I would say, since Andrew was talking about how remain flexible, a little spontaneity with the Uranus news, I think that's true. I mean, when the devil's in town, you want to hold each other lightly and not clench and bear down, because that will just lead to a world of pain.
So you're saying no chains around the neck? You don't think that's a good move for...
Well, should you find yourself imprisoned with the devil, try and make the best of it.
Uranus and Aries in the 5th house is kind of suggestive of BDSM play, if you're into that sort of thing.
All right,
Saturn is
May
there
is
as
the
well,
month.
so
You
got
heard it here
whips
first.
And chains.
Whips and chains in May. Yeah, we're doubling down. And of course, Dr. Nick immediately was like, wait, what was that? He was...
So... I have a client, and I sort of have permission to tell this, that I
like
came
that
across
sort of.
their,
That's a good.
I said in your chart you have both Saturn and Mars in Scorpio in the 5th house, and I don't necessarily want to say anything about that to you as my client, but do you have, does this suggest anything? And they said, well, actually, I run the largest play party and network of sex clubs in City Redacted. I'm not going to say where they are.
There you go.
Yeah.
Wow, Jake's taking a lot of notes. Whoa. All right. That was May. Let's move on to June.
Let's do it.
June, the month of... God, I hope that we get some rain in June. June, the month where you get bored with BDSM and move on to, yes, as Mark says, books, discipline, spells, and magic. All right, Andrew, give us some space weather for June.
So for there are people here who are from my Patreon, and I'm going to point out that June is the month when we have this lovely thing start that I call the Days of Cedar and Rose, and it's the annual-ish conjunction of Venus and Saturn, followed by a 56-day ritual to express gratitude and love and creativity into the world. So that'll be occurring in June. So that was my number 3 note, is that, and it's taking place in Cancer, which is really, really lovely because Venus is a triplicity ruler in that sign and Jupiter is exalted in that sign. And in June, they're already in the 5th house and saying this is a great time for love and entertainment and fecundity and auspiciousness. It is also a great month for, I have Uranus, the sun, the Imam Kali, or the place of contentment, and Mercury in Gemini. You've got Uranus causing disruptions at home, but Mercury is capable of smoothing out those conversations and developing this really lovely home environment. And it suggests that it's a great time to revisit your ground rules around home and also to do a little bit of a household reset. I think the big problem with June is that we've got Neptune and Saturn in Aries in the 2nd house around finances. So personal finances are likely to take a hit during June. On a more national stage, we've got the moon in Sagittarius up in the 10th house in a place associated with the horse's skull, just beating a dead horse over and over and over again and trying to get government, politics, corporatocracy to deliver reliable results that are different from what it currently delivers. Like my friend Irene says, every system is designed to deliver exactly the results that you're getting. If you have to change the system if you want different results. And we're going to see in June the system trying to do something different without actually delivering different results.
Yeah, I mean, those of you in the chat, if you have like an over-under for Susie pulling the most terrible card possible right now, because I'm about to ask
it's interesting. It was very close to the death card. It was the one before the death card.
Okay, all right. I love the Hanged Man. That is one of my favorite cards. That is a great card in terms of cards that are delightful, second only to the Tower.
So, the Hangman, we don't know. The Hangman has so many different... We've never gotten it before, and it has so many different ways of showing up. Yeah, it's new. We've never had the Hangman before. So,
wow.
In terms of possible natural disasters, look out for flooding, tsunamis. It is the element of water. I would expect maybe religion to be in the news. The Hangman is definitely a sort of like sacred fool. So, but the other thing that might happen is just like a holding pattern, a stagnant holding pattern. Because sometimes with the Hangman, we're literally hanging around waiting for shit to happen. So,
yeah,
so that's something that you might experience.
I was just sort of thinking, somebody in the chat asked a little earlier if there's going to be an alien revelation at some point this year. The Hangman could be a spot for that,
I
mean, literally descending from the sky.
Yeah.
There is another possibility, which is, a lot of early decks describe this card as le traiteur, the traitor. And at least in American political systems, as well as in British political systems, there are a lot of figures that could easily serve as cat's paws or scapegoats or, sacrifices for political expedience. It might be that the right people get hung up, but it is just as possible for somebody to take the fall or take the blame for something that is not necessarily their fault.
Scapegoating, very possible with this card. Yeah, and public humiliation.
Humiliation.
Yeah.
And it's not like there aren't currently a lot of candidates on the table. I mean, at least in the American political scene and to some extent in the British political scene, there are a lot of characters that the current administration would easily hang out to dry in order to preserve the king.
Yeah.
Not that he's a king, but...
Yeah.
No kings.
No
kings.
I mean,
Kings.
unless everybody who's orange is a king, then. Okay. All right. So that's the first half of the year.
Wow.
In
Speedy.
in one of our previous attempts at this, we would now take a break, and I don't know what you guys did during your break. I would go outside and yell at the moon, or perhaps
Eat
pet
things.
a cat or something. But instead, since we are trying to rush through the year with the expediency of Mercury and the wisdom of Solomon and all of the other Shazammy things, let us jump immediately into the fiery brimstone pit of July, one of my least favorite months.
Really?
It's just too hot.
Okay. All right. Let's do it.
Fire horse, exactly.
Fire horse, yeah.
Andrew, give us the fiery sky news.
Well, Mars has finished transiting through Aries and Taurus, and so right at the very beginning of July, we've got a conjunction of Mars and Uranus. And this is not a particularly confined conjunction as far as I'm concerned, because it was under one such conjunction that I have had my first and only hit and run driver experience, and I was the victim. Now, in my case, I have a square between those two planets in my chart. So when Mars was transiting natal Uranus was also transiting natal Mars, which was not fun. But it also could be fireworks. There was a Mars-Uranus conjunction on January 20th of 2021 when Biden became president, and all the astrologers were like, this is not good, like this is explosions, like what are we going to do about it? And it turned out to be fireworks, right? There were
just literal fireworks.
like literal fireworks.
All right.
And it's worth noting that this year is what, the 200th anniversary of the American Revolution.
Oh yeah, the sesquibicentennial or something.
Sesquibicentennial,
Did I say that
250
right?
years.
I don't know. I haven't spoken Latin in a while.
In any case, it might be that there is a particularly powerful fireworks display, but it could also be real explosions, and I don't really know how to unpack that.
Well, I would say, like volcanoes, I believe there are humans blowing each other up every month of the year currently.
Pretty much, yes.
Yeah,
So,
pretty much. Yeah.
We just have to hope that it's not too bad.
We
don't want another Beirut.
No. The other thing that's worth sort of pulling out is that this conjunction is going to be taking place in the 10th house, right? So it's, again, stuff happening at the national level, stuff happening at the state level, stuff happening at the local level, and stuff happening in your personal life. The way that I'm describing it here is that career, workplace, office politics rarely have clear winners and losers because you all have to show up for work the next day. But this might be an occasion where there will be clear winners and clear losers. And this might be the reason why you need to be keeping all that documentation from earlier in the year.
Okay. That's good. That's good insight, I think.
There's my last note about July is this is a good month for picking the right predicaments. I heard somebody explain at one point that a problem is something that can be solved, and a predicament is something that you're embedded in. If you take a specific job and you hate the commute, you still have to do the commute if you love the job, right? It is the necessary predicament that you're now embedded in. And my note for July is pick the right predicaments and get comfortable with them because they might stick around for a while.
All right, that makes sense. I enjoy also how every time we do any of these, Andrew has one little sort of like sound buddy aphorism that he's going to drop for us. And I know that that's not the only one, but I noticed it and I love you for it, Andrew. Thank you. Susie,
So,
a card?
yeah, I don't want to say we've used up all the bad cards yet.
Because you found another one?
No, this time we've got the very chill Ace of Cups. So, and now the thing about aces, we've not gotten this, but in ace, when we get aces, they tend to really bring a lot of something that represents that element, right? So like with Ace of Wands, we got a lot of wildfires. Ace of Pentacles, we got a lot of money news. And so with Ace of Cups, I would conjecture that water, storms, oceans would be in the news, you know, things like that, wet things.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah.
Or, I mean,
and,
couldn't
yeah.
it be, like, I don't know, maybe somebody famous, like, just is Taylor Swift going to fall in love with somebody else?
Well, that's the other thing I was going to say. There is something about for some reason, I guess because where else are you going to put it in the deck? But like performers and the arts tend to cluster in cups.
Yeah.
Yeah. So it could be Taylor Swift. Well, I mean, she's kind of taken care of, but you know, maybe somebody else.
I don't know if
will
you've
have,
paid attention to the National Enquirer in recent years, but it doesn't seem like anybody is permanently taken care of in the realm of celebrities.
I would expect, you know, news to be more celebrity focused, you know, which would be kind of a nice break from the ongoing apocalypse of the rest of the year. But
Right.
you know, I would expect something exciting to happen in pop culture. Perhaps I'm really looking forward to finding out, since this is one we haven't had before.
That's interesting. So we've had two cards that we haven't had before so far. Yeah, and do you think that's perhaps because you put all the bad cards at the top of the deck on all the other years?
We've used them up.
We should
Don't
have a
say
rule where
that.
if you put a
Don't
card for the
say
year,
that.
Our
Says in the
producer
chat that-
informs us that Taylor Swift is getting married in June.
I went to high school with a
possibly-
girl who got married in May and was divorced before the end of June, so anything could happen.
Wow.
So it could be. It could be. Oh, okay. All right. I suspect then it is time. I feel like we're making really good time. Let's
We're doing
move
good.
on.
Yeah.
Let's move on to August. I feel like this will give us lots of Q&A time at the end of the year if we can get through all of the months. Yeah, we'll have a nice wrap up. All right, August. Andrew, what are the stars saying about the August month of August?
We've got an ascendant in Pisces,
Uh-huh.
so there's the struggle of believing one thing but needing to do another, right? That's one of the critical things here. And we've got a moon, we've got the moon, Neptune, and Saturn all clustered in the first half of Aries in the second house. So continuing difficulties with money, you should plan on having a little bit of a cushion by the time August rolls around because you're likely to need it. On the other hand, we've also got Jupiter and the Sun coming up on a conjunction in Leo. Right? By this point in the year, Jupiter is going to have moved out of Cancer into Leo. And so we've got the good advisor of the solar system coming to the king at the throne. And that's usually a pretty powerful conjunction, probably worth taking advantage of from a magical perspective. From the perspective of family and home, and also your romantic life or your spousal arrangements, there's this Japanese concept that's called hallways, not boardrooms. In other words, make decisions informally in informal conversations before you go and you have a formal meeting about it. So whether you have housemates or family members, August is a great month to make a lot of informal decisions before you come to a final decision about what it is that you're going to do. My final note is that this is a very good month to choose your intoxicants carefully, and also who you share company with. There's both the risk of incautious conversations and also getting the wrong kinds of intoxicants. So if you prefer the things that maybe are not available at your local pharmacy or at your local liquor store or what have you, that this is a good month to make sure that you're actually taking what you think you're taking.
So watch out for your Tylenol and moonshine.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, got it. Okay. I mean, I assume that's what you're talking
So-
about. Of course.
I missed most of that because my connection froze, but I came in on the watch out for your intoxicants bit there. So
Yeah.
I'm really
And
curious.
Susie's like, let me get the
where you
bong.
got that.
Well, I read recently that there is a provision in the quote unquote big beautiful bill here in the United States that essentially makes the entire legal cannabis industry illegal. Because
Really?
so much of that is done at the state level, it's an open question whether the feds could actually enforce that on the 29 states that have some sort of legal cannabis at this point.
Yeah.
I mean, honestly, they've never been able.
There are just not enough federal troops or law enforcement officials to be able to enforce that kind of decision.
I mean, the open secret out here on the West Coast is they've never been able to enforce it. Like, ever.
That's right.
The cannabis industry out here has always been thriving and has always been doing great. And in fact, it's probably been worse for cannabis growers since legalization. Yeah, they've never been able to enforce it, so they can do whatever they want.
In any case, this may be part of this conversation.
Yeah. All right. Okay.
Yeah.
Susie, you got a card for us?
Yes, I do. And this would be the Chariot. So.
Oh, I like that card.
Yeah,
Okay, that's a good one. I don't
So-
feel like we've had that one before either.
We have
Have we?
not, as a matter of fact, strangely enough. This could be, okay, on the plus side, on the positive, potentially positive side, things could be, advancing at a terrific rate. Chariots are vehicles. That could be anything from race cars to rockets. We could see all kinds of, forward momentum and progress. That would be great. Or we could have flooding disasters again. Again, this is the Chariot. It's Cancer. I mean, there can be the wages of overweening ambition with this card as well. Yeah, hard to say, but I hope that I think it would be exciting to see, for example, some kind of very interesting satellite launch, or finally making low-cost electric vehicles available in this country. Something like that would a terrific way to see the Chariot come into being.
You mean like a chicken in every pot and a Cybertruck in every driveway?
The thing about that, though, is, there's already a vehicle that's incredibly light. At some point, I was reading about this company in India. I think they're called Tata, T-A-T-A, that basically makes a cardboard car.
What?
Oh.
Wow.
And the goal is to dramatically reduce the weight. And when a cardboard car runs into another cardboard car, nobody gets hurt. The car basically gets smushed,
Destroyed.
but you can basically pick the engine up off the road and take it back to the dealership and put it into a new cardboard frame.
Whoa.
Backpack straps. I
Wow.
love that. I love that.
Yeah. Very interesting. Yeah. Well, we'll be keeping an eye out for motorized vehicle news.
Yeah, okay, hold on. I lost track. We're on September,
Next.
it turns out. We're moving to September. I'm sorry, I didn't lose track. The angel Jakiel has whispered in my ear. All right. So I think, let's move on to September. We're making great time. I'm very proud of both of you. I've never seen you be so terse before. I feel like I am a teenage child of yours that is in trouble. I love it. So let's go. Let's do September. Ground me, Andrew.
So in the chart for this month, which I have not yet posted, is the 3rd of September 2026 at 1:54 a.m. We've got Neptune and Saturn retrograde in the 10th house in Aries, right? So that's scope creep at work. That's and also being shut down by very realistic limitations or boundaries. It's facing on the national stage broad enthusiasms for really popular things getting shut down by the reality of how do you implement them. We also have Mars in Cancer in the 1st house. So this is a month when you have the potential to injure yourself, but chances are you're also going to recover relatively quickly. This is not the month to take up fast sushi as your own personal cooking practice. Remember that when you are working with sharp power tools, that you should work on accuracy first and then speed later.
That's
Jupiter is
exhausting.
going to be in Leo in the second house, which means that some of the money troubles from earlier in the year may start to resolve themselves with the start of the new school year.
All right.
At the beginning of the year, you may recall that I said that January was a good month to start cultivating a deeper friends group. And by September, if you've been doing that, there are very strong indications here in the chart that that's starting to yield valuable rewards. So I would do that.
All right, that's a good callback. So it does mean that like there is a progression through the year. You just have to hold on to friends for like 9 months. That's cool. I've done that.
A D&D game might be a really good way to do that.
I'm starting a D&D game in January, in addition to the Blood Bowl League that I mentioned earlier, or the Blood Bowl tournament. So we'll see. I might have lots of dice rolling friends by then. Just all over the place. Okay, Susie, give us a September card.
Yeah, so we've got a decanically appropriate card this time. We've got the Two of Swords, which is,
all right, it's...
first of the Libra decans. So
yeah, and it's one of the nicer of the swords, too. It's not as terrifying
yes,
as a lot
as
of
these
them.
things go, all things are relative. So the Two of Swords we have gotten once before. And, well, there were some terrible attacks on immigrants in the UK. Taylor Swift events were canceled because of security concerns. Harris chose her VP. So, but my favorite one of these random events, which I put in my spreadsheet, was the second largest diamond in the world was discovered. So I'm always talking about how pips like to count. So look out for number twos, whether they're vice presidents or the second largest or second best or second smallest of something.
All right.
I do think, though, that because of the timing of this and because of sort of the metaphysics of the card, which has a lot to do with sort of like the Karate Kid stage of initiation and learning. Yes, another lunar decan. I do think that schools might be in the news just because of the timing. The opening of school might be relevant in some way and noteworthy. So we'll see.
That's really interesting because that card is associated with the first decan of Libra, right? Which is also associated with Dike, the goddess of justice, but particularly weights and measures. And it represents that period between September 21st and this date for the chart that I'm looking at, which is, October 1st, October 2nd, October 3rd. And there is when the transition to the second decan. So in some ways, this card is saying, be paying attention to what happens for October during those last 10 days of September and use that as a way of figuring out how to adjust course for those last
Okay. That sounds like a pretty specific time frame to watch out for. So I hope people are putting that on their calendar. I'm not going to. I enjoy the surprise where then in October when I'm complaining about things, Andrew can say to me, I warned you about that almost a year ago. And I'll be like,
We need an I told you so ringtone for Andrew.
oh, we do. Hold on. Maybe it's...
Do we?
Reveal the path and grant me passage. Reveal the path and grant me passage.
like Gandalf, if you don't study, none shall pass.
None shall pass.
None shall pass.
Okay, let's move on to October. Everybody's favorite month when we all get to get our sweaters out of storage and put away our linen trousers and hang cobwebs in the windows.
I don't need to hang cobwebs in the windows. They're already there.
That's called prognostication.
That's right. That's right.
Okay, Andrew, what do you got for our Space Wizard October?
So one of the things that I have down is that we've got Mercury and Venus in Scorpio in the 7th house. And from this, I take away that it's really important for you and your partner to choose your Halloween costumes early and to work on them and to be really clear about what they are.
Very, very practical advice.
Very practical advice. I do think that my parents once walked into a bicycle store and they said, "We're thinking about buying a tandem bicycle." And the guy in the place said, "Let me ask you a question before you buy a tandem bicycle. How well do you wallpaper together?" And my dad said, "We don't put wallpaper up at all." And he said, "Great, buy 2 bicycles and it will still be cheaper than a tandem bike. And you won't have to learn how to operate a bicycle built for 2. Even though that's really romantic, it's not as much fun as you think it is." And there's something similar about Halloween costumes. If you're really good at picking a Halloween costume on the first of the month, you can make it really good. You can develop a little bit of an act. You can develop some playfulness around it. And it means that you're starting off the month with really good practical communication, and it means that you get to be much more playful later in the month. The downside that I see in October is that Uranus in Gemini is now going to be in the second house. So that's bringing financial disruptions into your life at a time when you're thinking about, going out and having fun and being with all sorts of friendly people at parties and so on. And Uranus is saying, no, you have to be on the lookout for bank fraud. You have to be on the lookout for those kinds of financial challenges. So, yeah. Yes, Jake is exactly right. Watch out for government deviousness, especially when it comes to alien invasions. Watch your finances and plan your Halloween costume.
Okay, Susie, now for the spooky month, I expect you to have the most cheerful card.
Well, what's weird about this is that I got, again, the Chariot. So, occasionally this happens, that we'll get two cards that come up in the same year, or even after each other. Last year we had Six of Swords for June and July, when U.S. politics basically exploded. So, But one thing that this says to me is potential October surprise, because, the Chariot accelerates things. Anything that was going to happen is going to happen.
In a non-presidential election year?
It's midterms. It's midterms.
All right, okay.
Surprise,
we can get October surprises anytime. Why not?
January,
October surprise.
Am I remembering correctly that the Chariot is associated with Cancer? Is it?
That's correct. Yes.
Yeah, so it's associated with the astrological sign of Cancer, and our chart for October actually has the moon in the sign of Cancer at 16 degrees. So that kind of again points to the idea.
But the thing is that with moon placements, it's going to be in every sign throughout the month, right?
It's going to be in every sign, but using our methodology, right? This chart is saying that we should be paying particular attention to local affairs, right? Local elections rarely get the same level of attention as national news, but the fact that you pulled the Chariot and the moon is actually in Cancer for the chart for October strongly suggests that it's important to pay attention to what's happening on local ballots. Now, as some people who've been on the show before may know, I serve on our school committee and I serve on our town library board. And October is usually when we get funding from the state, which has tumbled down from federal grants and federal resources. And all of those kinds of funds coming down to local levels have been very much in question this past year. Are we going to get those funds? Is it going to be what was promised to us? So this is saying pay attention to local elections and pay attention to what's happening in your local community, especially right in this last month before U.S. elections in the first week of November.
So then the October surprise might be localized.
The October surprise might be localized.
Yeah. All right.
Well,
So pay
literally,
attention.
it's the Chariot. So unexpected people might be running, right? The Chariot creates momentum of, so.
I'd love that. My first election.
What would be amazing?
Mine was the first contested election in town in 10 years. So, yes, more people running would be fine by me.
I was just thinking it would have been amazing if I had had the Chariot of Fire soundtrack theme song on my soundboard. That would have been perfect. Instead not as universally useful. Okay, so all right, that feels like a pretty good wrap up for October. Plan your Halloween costumes early. Watch Ben-Hur over and over and over again, especially the chariot race part, and pay attention to local elections.
Yes, and Jake, thank you very much, but you're assuming that I actually want to win my election. Serving in local government can be very, very wearing.
All right, let's move on to November. I would like to remind both of you that November is the month of my solar return, so you should only say good things about it. And go, Andrew.
On a romantic front, the chart is suggesting that I should tell you that if you're planning on going on a date, try to go someplace intellectual. Go to a museum, go to a historic grave site, go to a historic house, go on a tour of your city for the first time and, visit places of early settlement or whatever. Go view historic churches, go on an archaeological tour or whatever.
I always try to take my first dates to the cemetery. I feel like that always goes really well.
Yeah, maybe that should be a second date. I don't know. Mars and Jupiter will have a conjunction this month, and in the chart of the month, it's taking place in Leo in the first house. So Mars is usually the challenge to Jupiter's generosity. Somebody comes along and says, hey, I really need your help. And you go, but I don't really want to give you that help. And so there's a component here of your good nature and your positive attitude towards the world being challenged in some fashion by outside forces, and maybe you're made to look more mean than you actually are. From a home and family perspective, this is a great month to clean out all of those spider webs that have built up, but you should also make sure that your HVAC system and other parts of your house's guts and breathing apparatus are being properly checked out and kept in good repair.
All right, that's good advice. It sounds like the sort of thing that my rental management agency would email me. It's November, time to clean out your house filters. Check your gutters. Winterize your home. Yes, I like that. The card.
Eric, you asked, and you shall receive. I got you a birthday present. It's the Six of Cups.
Yes! I'm booking that cemetery tour immediately.
Exactly. And it is decanically appropriate, right?
Nice.
Yeah, best card ever. So decanically appropriate, second decan of Scorp. So I'm not even going to...
That's exactly when my solar return is. It's in the second decan of... wait, no, it might be in the third decan.
There you go. So maybe we can say that Eric will be in the news.
Boy.
Just what I've always wanted.
Susie takes a good card and makes it bad.
Hey, you might be in the news because you did something amazing,
Oh, that's true.
Austin Kopic's name for that second decan is the alchemical apparatus, or the double distiller. And it's definitely about my personal transformation enables somebody else's personal transformation.
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
I'm super happy if I get to enable that in somebody else. That would make me very pleased.
So
maybe I will be
themes of the Six of Cups could certainly be, the past and ancestors, graveyards, things like that. But also it could be young people in the news. Maybe it could be something good, like a young person becomes a world-renowned activist like Greta Thunberg, or a young person. Oh my God, I saw the best Six of Cups news the other day. This kid who was in a 9-year-old who was in a boating race in Indonesia went viral because he was dancing, on the front of this boat, which would be a totally Six of Cups thing. Anyway, he was adorable, and that's why I'm saying so. Anyway, so I'm not even gonna guess what the relevant disaster would be. I'm just going to cross my fingers, and maybe we won't get one.
I will take that.
Yeah, a month without volcanoes, finally.
In early November, there is going to be a Mercury Cazimi during Mercury retrograde. I would guess like the 4th, maybe the 5th of November.
Uh-huh.
Given that it's happening in the month chart in the 4th house, there's definitely something about, that might be a good time to do an episode for your show and take advantage of that.
Once many years ago, I had access to, I think I was borrowing my parents' car. I think they were out of town. They used to leave the country every year for my birthday. I'm not entirely certain why, but they would do that. And
what a strange way to celebrate.
yeah, but sometimes they leave me their car. So one year I took their car and I drove out to the Oregon coast, and and this must have been, I was recording My Alchemical Bromance at the time, my previous podcast, because I did record a solo episode in my hotel room, but I had a hotel right on the coast. And of course it was November. It was shitty weather. It was dark and stormy and rainy, and in the middle of the night I went out onto the beach and I did this like huge invocation of Proteus that was very successful.
Ooh, cool.
So maybe
did you turn into a sea serpent?
I am unable to disclose the actual effects or results of that ritual according to this paperwork from my lawyer, but I will say that it was a good one. That sounds like, it sounds like a good month, according, especially compared to a lot of the other months we've had this year or next year. I'm looking forward to November next year. It sounds like it's going to be challenging but good. And, I like graveyards. Those are cool. Let's move on to December. I would like you to pay attention to the time right now. We are making such great time. Did we lose me?
No, I can hear you.
Okay. I think that it's time for us to move on to December, and I would also like to just congratulate the two of you. We've made such good time. Jake, obviously, is our good luck charm. Jake, our producer. You cannot hear him, but he is saying many wise things right now. Absolutely. Yeah.
It is very
Thank you
helpful,
very
indeed.
much, Jake.
Thank you
Everybody
so much,
go
Jake.
check out cosmic.plumbing. The address will show up here on the screen again very shortly. The very best astrology software in the world is being developed by Jake and Trey, and it is available at cosmic.plumbing. Go download it. It's free. It's not entirely finished yet, so there's still time for you to give feedback and tell Jake and Trey what they have done wrong. They love that. They really, really, really love it. And so, yes. And so let us dive into the 10th month of December.
So I think the big thing in the 10th month that I have is that we have Neptune and Saturn once again in the 10th house at the start of the month.
Mm-hmm.
And the way that I'm going to interpret that is, again, wildly exciting ideas in your workplace needing to be crushed, wildly exciting ideas on the national stage that wind up being faced down by actual reality. Mars is going to be passing through Virgo, and at the start of the month, it's in the 3rd house. And so one of the things that I would say is you have been cultivating that friends group all through the year, or at least I hope you have. And it may be time for you to have a house party. It may be time to bring these people together for an end of the year party and do something nice to celebrate, because have I got this right? I want to make sure.
I think what Andrew's just about to say is there's going to be a party at Susie's.
Jupiter is going to turn back, though, and not go into Virgo, right? We have another little burst of energy because of the retrograde. And so there's sort of a chance to recoup from some of the financial losses that occurred earlier in the year during this last month. So One, have a party. You may have to kick somebody out, but have a party. Two, you're trying to recoup some of the financial difficulties from earlier in the year. Recognize, three, that your workplace is likely to have a lot of wildly enthusiastic ideas that need to be shut.
Spreadsheet party.
Yes. From the perspective of romance or spousal relationships, with Saturn in the 10th house, it means that it's square to Capricorn in the 7th house, which means that career and romance are likely to be at odds with one another this particular month. You do want to focus on keeping the relationship going on a practical level, but it also doesn't mean that you should buy a vacuum as a Christmas present.
Ever. Any present.
Ever. Or have a spreadsheet party.
Or have a spreadsheet party.
Oh, come on, guys. I mean, that's fun.
I also have a note here that says that based on the position of the lot of fortune, if you are planning on making your holiday presents, December 3rd is too late to start that project. If you have not done most of your holiday making before December 3rd, you will not finish it between December 3rd and December 21st.
Don't need astrology
25th.
to tell you that one.
My note also says you should probably start in February, as in 2 months from now.
Okay. Susie, just as a sort of a side note, have you yet registered the domain spreadsheet.party? Because I'm almost certain that's available, and it would be
but
perfect.
I have to show you something before my wallpaper changes on my phone. My divinatory wallpaper changes like every 2 minutes, and
dang,
that's what we got. Two of swords.
Okay. All right, that's 4 of swords, as we all know.
Or 6, considering we got one in September as well. So,
okay, that's a lot of swords.
That's a lot of swords. So anyway,
wait, did you draw the 2 of swords again?
No, that's what I'm saying. Yeah, I drew it. Mm-hmm.
You drew it again.
I drew it again.
All right.
Yep.
Okay.
Yep. So
a year ender.
It's a year ender again. So all the things I said before still hold true. However, because of the timing, because it's December, I'm going to go out on a limb and say that the 2 opposing parties in our government will have to find a way to work together, because they will have equal pull finally again.
This is a big prediction, Susie. All right.
I'm going to expand on that.
It might be the voice of hope.
Jake reports that spreadsheet.party is already taken as a domain name.
What?
Probably by somebody in the chat.
Yeah, well, I mean, I would suspect Jake of having taken it. Okay, all right.
So
expand
a
little
bit more.
The thing is
that, or it could be like a stalemate, right? It could be like absolute logjam, yet another government shutdown. I mean, I do think that 2 of Swords is a pretty good government shutdown card, actually.
Okay.
Yeah.
I will note as well that on the 2nd of December 2026 at 5:45 p.m., the moon is in that 2 of Swords decan.
Oh.
And it's in the 4th house. And when we look at a chart involving the moon on a national stage, like you're suggesting, that would be agricultural policy, that would be real estate, that would be housing policy.
Did you know that half of the draws we have gotten have been lunar draws? For this time, we've gotten the 7 of Swords, which is Moon in Aquarius, the 9 of Wands, Moon Sagittarius, gotten 2 Chariot cards, Cancer ruled by the moon. Yeah, and two of Swords, Moon and Libra. Huh? So weird.
It's going to be a lunar year.
I guess so.
All right. I mean, overall, I would have to say that this year the forecast doesn't seem as gloomy as some of our previous years, but also I do think that there were some years when we did the forecast when it felt way more playful, and then the year turned into this total disaster show. So maybe I'm just becoming jaded and just a more willing rider on the roller coaster car of life, and I'm just sort of who knows what's gonna happen. But but I have I do think that this sounds like a good year. It sounds like there's going to be challenges, but I can already see a path forward, the golden path, as Emperor Leto the Third or Second would say.
That was good for him, but hardly anybody else.
Hey, in the end, he got sliced up by a laser beam.
My God.
Wielded by a zombie.
Well, maybe it'll be a good year. Maybe it'll just be astrology good, or tarot good.
That's
possible.
See.
I do want to comment on a couple of things. First of all, we have a couple of questions in the chat that I think we should try to adjust.
All right.
By the end of December 2026, we're going to have Pluto in a new sign, which is Aquarius. We haven't talked all that much about that, but
AI, man.
Pluto in Aquarius is partly about AI, but it is also about taking resources out of storage and putting them to use, right? This is one of the traditional emblems of Aquarius, is the wheelbarrows being loaded with gravel to take them to the building site. It's about timbers being felled in the forest to take them to the building site. It is about workers taking and sharpening their tools before going out to prepare the fields. It's the work before the work.
It's about taking the soup out of the freezer.
It's about taking the soup out of the freezer, right? It's about defrosting the
turkey.
Steaks that you're planning on cooking, or defrosting the turkey. And everyone that I know is in the process of depleting savings of various kinds in order to pay for inflationary pressures. And those inflationary pressures, based on Pluto in Aquarius, are likely to continue throughout the year. So that's number one. Number two, Uranus is moving from Taurus to Gemini. And that is about moving from disruptions of physical work to disruptions of intellectual work. AI, was supposedly going to revolutionize industry and bring in robotics and blah, blah, blah. And really what it seems to be used against most of all is against the creative and professional classes, teachers, lawyers, and that sort of group. People whose intellectual work could in theory be done by a computer somewhere else rather than a person in the building. And then the third thing, of course, is that we've got Neptune and Saturn moving out of Pisces, which is the realm of belief, into Aries, which is the realm of actual conflict. So it's fantasies and reality in actual conflict, as opposed to wondering whether or not they really are in conflict with one another. And so these are the big undertows that are happening on a generational level, and this is going to last most of the next 20 years.
I know that I usually don't do any prognostication during this thing, but I have these coins of the tarot that I got off of it.
Ooh,
Kickstarter a zillion
cool.
years ago.
Yeah.
And I believe it's just the major arcana. It might be like
Looks
major
like it from
arcana
the
plus
picture.
aces.
Yeah.
Okay, you're right. You're a very good counter, Susie. Your math brain is amazing. So I'm just going to draw one coin for the whole year, and we'll see.
Please do. Yeah.
All right, I'm digging way in there. And that feels like a good one. It's definitely round.
And it's aspirin.
It's Tylenol. I got strength.
Ooh,
I don't know.
neat.
It's not going to focus very well, I don't think.
Yeah,
Oh, there we go.
I
Look
can
at
see
that.
the lion, though. That's cool.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And you just keep these things lying around?
Should have
Not
drawn
even a
another
dad.
coin.
No, but I am a stepdad, which makes me a faux pas.
Oh, my God. It just gets worse.
Ooh, butt stuff.
I mean, as a card to sort of sum up the year, the strength card, the strength is, it's not a bad one. It's fortitude. It's basically saying we have to hang in there. Strength is literally that poster of the little kitten like hanging on the thing where it says hang in there. That's the strength card, I think, at the end of the year. That's my quick, dirty interpretation.
In the past when we've gotten the strength card, it's actually been we've got it in August 22 and January of 22, and actually there were some real successes in soft power, some, some agreements, some multilateral agreements, and also the student debt was canceled in August 2022 in the Inflation Reduction Act. So that's something. Yeah.
I
know several
that helped out
friends
a lot of people.
who printed out their letters from debt reduction, and somebody said, "Oh, you owe money," and they presented this letter on very official letterhead, Department of Education, your loans have been canceled, and they said, "Oh, okay, well, you don't owe anything then. You have the paperwork. We can't do anything about that."
There you go. Hold on to your receipts.
Hold on to your receipts.
Yeah.
Do we have any more questions in the chat, Dr. Producer Zukowski?
We had one question that I saw that Jake actually asked, which was for this year, for folks that may want to be done with the U.S., what month would be the right month for the jump?
Gosh.
You have to give the right answer for Jake, by the way. If you don't give the right... Oh, yeah, Jake's December. He's next week, I think. his decanting.
I would say August or October because they have the Chariot. Good for moves.
Oh, yeah. Okay.
Yeah. I think that's a pretty good guess. It's in the PDF that I produced for this that I have the Aries ingress chart. And the Aries ingress chart shows the ascendant in Gemini. And whenever you have the ascendant of the Aries ingress chart in a mutable sign like Gemini, Virgo, Sagittarius, or Pisces, it indicates considerable changes month to month, right? It says you have to renew what chart you're looking at for each 3-month period of the entire year. And when I look at the chart for the Aries ingress, the stuff that's going on around foreign travel has Pluto in the 9th house of going abroad, which suggests it's a whole lot more expensive and a whole lot more complicated and a whole lot more toxic than it should be for the first 3 months of the year. When I look at the chart for Cancer, we've got Aquarius again in the 9th house. So I would say leave off the first half of the year if you possibly can. Then when I look at the Libra ingress chart, we have the lot of fortune in the 9th house in Sagittarius, and we've got a trine to Jupiter in Leo. So I think that if you can hold off on leaving the U.S. until after September, you're likely to have a much easier time of departing, and you will be leaving of your own choice.
Okay.
When I look at the chart for Capricorn, we've got Pluto again in Aquarius as the 9th house. So I think that the sweet spot is September, October, November, and Susie's card draws for the Chariot were what? August and October?
October and August, yes.
So
okay,
that's the best answer that we can give for this kind of a broad audience, I think.
Yeah, put on your Halloween costume and escape the country. That's the best advice that we can give you. All right, so we've done a really good job covering the entire year. I know that we've got a hard stop coming up for some folks. So let's wrap things up. My hope is that our producer, Mr. Jake, has collected everybody's website addresses so that he can flash them on the screen while I say them. But
okay.
Luckily, they're very easy. Susie, Tarotista, you can find all of her stuff online at tsusanchang.com.
And the Tarot Podcast.
And the Tarot Podcast. Is that at thetarotpodcast.com?
It is, and on all platforms, on YouTube and on podcast servers.
Nice. Okay. Andrew B. Watt, our resident space wizard, can be found at... Hold on, everybody. This is going to be very surprising. AndrewBWatt.com.
Newsflash.
And then, of course, if you are listening to this after the fact, if you're watching this on YouTube or listening to it on my podcast, you already know that all of my stuff, which is a podcast and other things, can be found at arnemancy.com. And then finally, I would like to once again thank Jake Zukowski, who has done an incredible job producing this live stream. Thank you, Jake. Hold on, I do have a sound effect for this.
Don't you be cranking out the butt stuff.
No, here it is. Thank you, Jake.
Oh.
Yay, yay. You can find Cosmic, the new astrology software, at cosmic.plumbing. So thank you, everybody. Thank you, Susie. Thank you, Andrew. Thank you, amazing audience, for being like the best audience that any live stream has ever had in the history of live streams. I hope that all of you have a delightful holiday season in preparation for the terrors of 2026.
Yes.